Welcome back, dear listeners, to another powerful episode of Mind Over Masculinity, where we dismantle the outdated myths about what it means to be a man and build something deeper: purpose, clarity, emotional intelligence, and the actual strength. So, today's guest is someone who literally rewrote his entire life by trusting one thing that most men ignore, which is intuition. So, we are joined by, please welcome, Philip Saparov. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Avik. It's good to be here.
Amazing. Amazing. So, dear listeners, before we delve deeper into the discussion, I'll quickly love to introduce Philip. So, Philip is the author, guide, and the creator of Awakened Entrepreneurship. So, his story reads like a movie. So, in June 2019, he walked away from a life in New York that looked successful from the outside but was suffocating him on the inside. So, he left his car, his apartment, and his country with about 5 weeks of expenses and no safety net. And instead of falling apart, he built himself as a freelancer, as a world traveler, as a man in alignment, and eventually as a published author whose work now helps others reclaim their purpose. And today we are diving into masculine intuition, aligned action, escaping the stagnation, and also about building a life that actually fits into who you are. So, why do you wait? Let's get started. Welcome to the show again, Philip.
Thank you, Avik. It's amazing to be here. I can't wait to share my stories and insights.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah. And, like walking away from the good life, I mean, and I can't even think of. So, I mean, let's go straight to that moment that changed everything. Like you said that in June 2019, um, you finally listened to the quiet intuition you did been ignoring. So, what did that moment look like? What did it feel like in your body?
Sure. Well,
Hmm.
mm, I would like to even backtrack a little bit even before that moment and kind of to clarify full disclosure. Did I really feel fulfilled or successful in my life at that time, back in the summer of 2019? And the answer is no, not really, because it may seem like, okay, this man, he lives in New York, he makes pretty decent money, and I was earning around, I don't know, close to 6 figures, not
Hmm.
quite. But for New York, if you live in New York and you have all the expenses, including expenses associated with my work at the time, actually very little of that was remaining, and that was part of the issue. That was part of the issue, but the main issue was that I knew I was meant for more in this life. I knew I had all these ideas, and I had all the inspiration and everything, and I felt that my work was just draining the life out of me, and I knew I had to do something about it. And the most frustrating thing was that uh, there seemed to be no way out. It seemed that uh, if there was a way out, it would probably take years and years to make it happen, and so on and so on, given that I have all these dreams and the plans and everything. But at the same time, my job was draining me so much that I was beginning to have health issues. I was like, my blood pressure was beginning to jump up and down. I would wake up with basically dreading to get to work. So, so in those circumstances, given that situation, I really was beginning to almost get panicky. I was almost panicking. It's like, wait a second, I have all these dreams, I have all these plans, I want to realize them, but my energy is dwindling so fast that I really don't see how I can realize and fulfill my dreams unless I do something drastic.
Hmm.
You see? And then, and then, so now we come to the moment that you mentioned, and that moment was it came on June 3rd, 2019. Now, and it was Monday. Now, how do I know that it was Monday? I remember that it was Monday because it was because I had and still have this inner work practice that I do, and I set up my inner work program for every week. And every week I do a specific set of things like mental exercises in addition to meditation. I'm going to talk about it towards the kind of towards the end exactly what that framework looks like. But I was practicing that, and Monday was my the first day of that program, right? It's the first day of that week. So I sat down, and I believe proactive in proactive insights. I believe in eliciting insights proactively from my subconscious mind rather than waiting for them. And that's part of the program that I've been using. And when I sat down on that day, on Monday, to sit, when I sat down first, I meditated. I really calmed my mind and everything. I came to this space where I could receive some insights, and the insight came, and it was more of an insight, more than an insight, I should say. It was like a command from God.
Hmm.
Okay, it was like the entire universe is telling me, Philip. And here's exactly what it said. It said, Philip, you must drop everything
Hmm.
and yeah, get on the airplane and just set yourself on a worldwide adventure.
Hmm.
And when I received that insight, that command, I call it an imperative. And it's when inspiration, decision, and many other things and faculties are coming together at the same time. You're being hit with uh, intense emotions from within, and you definitely hear a voice. It's like a voice from heaven coming to you, telling you this is what you must do. Don't worry, go do it. Uh, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of the rest. All you have to do is take action. I'll take care of the rest. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, consider it done. So, and it was the second time in my life when I received this kind of an imperative with such intensity. So what I did was I immediately I realized, okay, this is it. I'm dropping this. I'm quitting my job. I'm I made that decision straight at that time. Within 3 days, I had my flight booked. So I booked my flight for from New York to Ukraine, where I had some relatives. I still have some relatives there. I was going to stay there for a couple of months. It was a one-way ticket. Then I was going to stay about a little bit over 2 months there, and then I was going to fly to Thailand. Also a one-way ticket. And I booked that ticket a little bit later, like a few weeks later. But that was the plan. Basically, I was leaving New York and I was not coming back anytime soon. That was the day when it was all these actions were the result of that imperative that came to me on June 3rd, 2019. And I actually flew out of New York 82 days that
Oh.
uh, after that imperative on August 24th. And August 25th, I landed in Ukraine. And that was like the next chapter of my life.
Hmm. Got it. Yeah, and most guys wait for a breakdown or a kind of collapse before they move, and you moved from the consciousness. I mean, that's definitely rare, I'd say. Yeah. Yeah. So, and like men are conditioned to trust the logic, but not, I'd say, the intuition. So, how do you learn to trust your inner voice enough to leave your entire life behind. What do you say?
Yeah, a very good point and a very good
Mhm.
question. Now, it is true that women have their intuition developed kind of by nature much better than men. We have to work at it proactively. We have to actively develop it,
Okay.
and and as we develop it, we should learn how to trust it as well. That's a whole nother thing. So it's one thing to receive the answer, and it's another thing as well to actually follow it and do it.
Okay.
Now, how to answer your question, how do you do it? You absolutely, every man must
Mm.
have an inner work practice,
Correct.
a daily inner work practice, something that you do every single day
Mm.
to kind of align with yourself and align with the universe, so to speak. Now, I know aligning with the universe sounds a little bit woo woo, but in my experience, that is exactly what we're doing.
Mm.
Because you see, we come to this world with a specific neural potential. Everybody is slightly neurologically, slightly or sometimes radically neurologically different. We come from the factory slightly different, or meaning slightly because we're all human beings, so we'll have human neurology. But those variations, they can make a dramatic difference in the way our lives turn out.
Correct.
The way I refer to it is we should become the string the universe wants to play. Now, this ties into Buddhism, or rather just what the Buddha, I should say Siddhartha, discovered before he became the Buddha. And that was one of his profound realizations, is that the answer is in the middle, because he overheard an instrument play, a string instrument play, and he realized, if
Mm.
a string is too tight, it will break. Now,
Yes.
if it is too slack, it will not play. It will make
Mm.
an ugly sound.
Mm.
And the answer, therefore, is in the middle. It is in being perfectly fine tuned. And that is what we need to find. We need to find our perfect attunement, our perfect our perfect middle, where we feel like we're the string that the universe wants to play, but we're preventing ourselves from being that perfectly tuned
Mm.
string by being either overworking or doing something that we're not supposed to be doing, or just kind of slacking off sometimes as well because we lack motivation. Sometimes that happens as well. So the answer is in the middle. And the way the the way we
Mm.
the way we develop it is that we absolutely must show up every day. We must show up to the temple of us. Meaning, for example, you are Avik, right?
Yeah.
So every day you show up to the temple of Avik. There is
Yes.
there is a temple. There's a temple that every single day you say, okay, to your wife, to your girlfriend, to your cat, to your dog, to your children, and to everyone, you say, okay, my dears, I love you. It is my time to attend the temple of Avik.
Mm.
And you leave everyone behind and you go inside. And the temple, inside that temple, you spend time in silence and solitude.
Mm.
This must happen every single day. Every man must do that. Every man must attend that temple. If the man's name is John, he must attend the temple of John every single day.
True. I agree with you. Yep. Yep.
That is the answer. This is how we develop it.
Exactly.
Now, I do have a I do have a specific framework
Okay.
that I call the aim wheel. Aim wheel. That's AIM
Yep.
wheel.
Mhm.
Yes. And this is something that came to me as a result of several years, like about a year or so of doing my inner work. Not, I wouldn't say haphazardly, but I didn't have this exact framework. I was Yes, I was working um on my insights and on manifesting the outcomes that I really wanted to, but something was missing because I something was missing because I realized that, you know what, I am kind of clinging to the future a little bit over much, and that creates dissonance in me, that basically it burns energy trying to achieve something that is not yet, although that is um, goals. That is by definition goal setting. That's what goal setting is. We set a goal in the future, and now, but you see, according to the Buddha, if we have a desire for something that is in the future, that we don't like the moment that we have right now, and then we start clinging or desiring the next moment in which we will have something else that we don't have right now,
Yeah.
that is by definition suffering.
True.
Because we have dissonance between what we are now and what we have now, we do now, and the next thing, which can be later or years from now, or in the next moment. It's still cognitive dissonance equals suffering. And I realized that I have to integrate, like, this goal setting and aspiring for something has to be integrated
Hmm.
with meditation. It has to be integrated with meditation because we have to be rooted in the present moment.
Yep.
Because if we are not rooted in the present moment, then nothing else truly matters.
Hmm.
Nothing else truly matters, except in two cases. Except in two cases, and this is something very interesting. There are two cases in which a man should not worry too much about meditating and becoming present, so much as he should he should do whatever it takes to get out of that situation. And the two situations are: number one, being sick. If a person is sick, it is absolutely an imperative to get well. Just go and achieve recovery. Go do whatever it takes to become well, and just find the answers and
Hmm.
heal yourself. Get healed. Absolutely, no question about it. There should be not. It shouldn't be like, oh, I can live with this. I can, maybe actually I can just soldier on, and this will go away. Now forget about all that stuff. Get yourself, take care of your health. Absolutely, get well. The second situation that absolutely demands that we take action, regardless of whether we are present or not. You don't have to worry about it. You can meditate, but and it will help you accept your plight in the moment. It will.
Right.
But don't worry about enlightenment right now, because your job is the second situation is an unjust imprisonment.
Yep.
And I don't necessarily mean that the man is in the actual prison, but many kinds of situations in life can feel like that.
Hmm.
They they can feel like you're being imprisoned in a situation from which there's no way out. But not only that, but you resent that situation so much because you don't feel that you deserve it. Because you're like, oh my God, what happened? I didn't plan for this. I didn't create this. I didn't want this. How did it happen to me? Well, this is a situation where we feel that this is unjust. Like
Hmm.
men, uh, we men, when we're young, as we grown up, we start out being naive. We start out with naivete,
Yep.
and we must overcome our naivete in order to become a mature man. A mature man is a man. It's one of the. It's not a perfect, all-encompassing definition, but a mature man is in part a man who has transcended being naive. Okay, that's one of the things. And what does mean being naive mean when we are younger? Well, we buy into other people's bullshit.
Correct.
We buy into other people's idea of who we are, of what we're supposed to be. Many parents push their children into professions that they simply do not want to pursue. That happens a lot. Um, People have ideas of us and expectations of us, and they push identity up on us. They tell us, "Oh, but you are. Wait a second. But you are. You are a tutor, or you are. How can you do that? You're a driver. What do you mean? Like, no, don't throw an identity on me like that. Do you know? Yeah. Do you know who you are? Okay, so don't tell me who I am. you know,
Right, right.
finding out who we really truly are sometimes can be a lifelong journey. But it could be, it doesn't have to take a lifetime to find out who we really are.
Right, right.
But to come back to the practice, you see, this is why it was important for me to necessarily integrate the no mind segment into the practice. And as a result, we have the AIM wheel, AIM, which stands for awareness, insight, and manifesting.
Okay.
The AIM wheel practice. So what does that entail? What does that entail? This is something that came to me also in a kind of in a flash of inspiration, flash of enlightenment back in 2016, about 1 year into my practice. And I was listening to a lot of Osho as well. He has had a profound impact on my life, Osho. I once, interestingly, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I recommended Osho. I said, why don't you listen to Osho a little bit? He's an interesting man. And I remember her saying, she said, well, yeah, he's controversial. Yeah, well, let me tell you something. So was every single human being of consequence on this planet. Socrates was controversial. They killed him for that. Jesus Christ was controversial. Guess what? He died because of that.
Yeah.
Um, every person of consequence has been controversial. So yeah, that would not. Don't let that deter you. So this is, yes, yes. He was a fascinating, fascinating man. You see, his idea of the human being going forward was, some who have ever listened to him or followed him a little bit know that he had this idea of Zorba the Buddha. That you are a modern man. You are a man of you're a man who does not deny himself the pleasures of this life,
Yeah.
but at the same time you're enlightened. At the same time you're enlightened, or you're pursuing enlightenment, or whatever that journey means to you. In other words, you are an integrated man where within you combine both spirituality, both progress on the spiritual path and self-actualization, which they seem contradictory, because one involves self-actualization involves pursuing goals and fulfillment in the material realm, like fulfilling your neural potential or fulfilling your potential. Now, um, enlightenment occurs to us as just renouncing everything, and just becoming spiritual, meaning that we don't need anything anymore. No, that's not how it works. That's not how, especially today, it is becoming more and more important to realize that um, we need a true integration, the integration of East and West. It is it is high time for that. It is time for that, to integrate the East and West. It is not East versus West. No, it is the integration. It is the integration. The integration of the spirit and mind. So now, to come back to the practice, if you can picture in your mind most listeners would be familiar with the Taoist symbol, the Taoist yin yang symbol.
Okay.
It is this round symbol that is divided by an S-shaped element, and there are two shapes that look like water drops, and they are kind of whirling around another. As one is white, the other is black, or whatever the colors are, but they should be kind of should have a high contrast between one another. And there's a small white dot in the black segment, and there's a small white dot in the black segment, and there's a black dot in the white segment. Does that sound familiar? The symbol?
Exactly.
Yeah. Does that? But you know what I'm talking about, right, Avik? The Taoist. This is Taoist yin yang symbol. Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty well known symbol. Now, imagine this symbol being having three segments. Instead of two, it has three segments. Now, the first one is awareness. The first one is awareness. So we sit down and we meditate. This is the time for no mind whatsoever. Just sit down and in meditation, in perfect silence and solitude. And I use meditation music. I love using meditation music. I don't meditate in perfect silence. There's almost no such thing as perfect silence anyway. There's always some kind of distraction, noise, some here and there. I just put up some meditation music, and it helps me kind of blend in with the ambience, with the ambient sounds around. I spend some time there, a minimum of 10 minutes, sometimes maybe a little bit less, depending on how meditative I already feel, or how, I may be a little bit busy, so I do like at least 5-6 minutes, but it's a good idea to do 20 minutes if you have that time. And what that allows me to do is to settle in this moment and to surrender to whatever is happening to me. So this is a big deal. The first step in virtually any situation is sit down, relax, and accept and surrender to what is. Because if we don't do that, if we fail to surrender and accept what is, then we are arguing with the present moment.
Yeah.
And by definition, suffering is burning energy on the uncontrollable. The present moment, we must understand something very interesting. The present moment, we don't have control over the present moment. We have control over the next second, or the next even maybe nanosecond, or whatever it is. I can make a decision to change something, but making that decision and changing that will take, a few seconds, will take at least some time. But right now, this exact very moment, no, we must dissolve in it. We must surrender to it fully, whatever it looks like, however bad, however difficult the situation may be. Just accept it the way it is right now. This is step one. Step one, accept. Don't worry about it. Just accept. You've made mistakes. Perhaps you've been naive. Don't worry about it. We have all gone through this. We've all been through this. Nobody comes out of the womb being a self-actualized man.
Master. Exactly.
Nobody comes out a master. Nobody comes out. We're all babies, and then people tell us all kinds of things, and some of them are good. Some of the entrainment is good. For example, if we learn the multiplication table, this is useful conditioning. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing bad about it.
Correct.
But if someone gives you a paradigm, like throws a paradigm on you, that remember, son, this is the way the world works, and therefore you should always be that, and so on and so on. Just listen. A lot of that can be complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Oh, yeah, we just don't know it. And of course, we're going to end up at some point. It is just highly likely that every man will go through some kind of a crisis, some kind of an existential crisis where he says, "Wait, wait, 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 wait. I've bought into like too much of, or I've bought into enough that I am living someone else's life." Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. If that is the situation that you find yourself in, step one, relax. Spend go into silence and solitude. Put on some meditation music. You can even put on some incense or burn some oil, whatever you want. That's nice. That those sensory experiences, they're fine. And just accept everything the way it is right now. That is step one, segment one, awareness. The next segment is insight.
Exactly.
Now that we are in in alignment with the present moment, we have relaxed, we have surrendered to whatever is. Now it's time to ask for insights. Okay, if this is my situation right now, what should I therefore be doing with my life? And your questions, the questions that you're asking yourself, um, or asking the infinite intelligence, it can be general, can be big. Like, oh my God, what is the next thing for me in life? And we kind of that's where you kind of should get started. Where should I take my life? Am I in the right business? Maybe there's another business that I should start that is more aligned with who I am. More general, like bigger general things, and seek clarity in those. So go from general to more specific. So
That's
elicit those answers. Elicit those answers. You can just sit down and say, you can say, I already know my next business. That's one of the techniques that you can use. You can just sit down and say, and just repeat to yourself for several minutes, I already know my next business venture. I already know my next business venture. I already know my next business venture. Kind of like infuse yourself with this affirmation, and then sit for a few minutes, just completely quietly, completely in silence, waiting for the answer. And then you will you will be shocked as to how how profound the answers and how brilliant the answers will be that you receive. This may not happen on day one. This is all part of daily practice. This is why I insist on doing it daily, because one day you may show up and nothing happens, but the next day you show up and the insight could be profound, or sometimes it may take a week or so. But it takes some time to establish a relationship between you and your mind, because that's one thing that we know also in spirituality. We are not our mind. We are the witness, and we have our mind. And what we do is we establish a relationship. We develop a relationship, especially with our subconscious mind, so that we have this kind of a connection between ourselves and our subconscious that that kind of develops over time, and information begins to travel a little bit more easily, a little bit more freely, back and forth, like from the subconscious into your mind. And you're like, whoa, wait a second, I'm receiving insights even while I'm driving. You could be driving or having or taking a shower, and like boom, you're hit with a completely life-changing insight.
yes.
That happens. So this is segment two, where we um, elicit insights proactively from our subconscious mind. Finally, segment three. And segment three is manifesting. So now that we have surrendered to the present moment and we no longer suffer, hopefully, it takes time. It's a practice. It takes time to really fully, truly surrender. Once we have begun to receive insights,
Yeah.
oh, you see, now we have a better idea of what we should be aiming at. Because you see, it sometimes, and it's very common for people not to know what to want. People don't know what they want. Like, okay, what do you want? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to aim for. I don't know what my goal should be. Well, that's exactly how you do it. That's exactly how you do it.
Lovely.
You ask for the answers. You ask for the answers.
Lovely.
Something very, very important about it is that you can work with a, let's say, with a coach, a guide, or a grandfather who has infinite wisdom, and he can guide you. He can tell you, he or she, anybody, your mother can tell you, son, maybe this would be a better path for you or something.
Mm.
Different people can have different ideas about you, and some of them may be more right, some of them may be a little bit more off the track or more off track. However, nobody knows you better than you, and nobody knows you better than your inner mentor who resides in your subconscious mind. that
Exact.
that is the guy you should trust. Because he knows you intimately. He knows every single inch of your body, and he knows every single cubic inch of your full spectrum of consciousness.
Correct.
So that's the guy you trust, and that's the guy you develop a relationship with. And I say a guy because we're talking to men, and as a man, your inner mentor is probably a man, someone like Merlin or Gandalf, that type of a figure, a little bit, a more older, more mature figure who is telling you, hey, wait a second. Maybe this is not the right path. Maybe this is not the right action. Or maybe you should clean this one up, and so on and so on. So in the third segment, so by the time you're done with your surrendering, receiving insights from your inner mentor with whom you have a relationship now, and now you have a much better idea of what to do and what to aim at. Now it's time for you to work on manifesting, because you're manifesting from a place where you know what's good for you. You're not
Correct.
setting superficial or kind of silly goals. Sometimes we set silly goals.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It, and here's the thing: you, I completely encourage setting absolutely whatever goals you want. You want a Lamborghini, the proverbial Lamborghini that everyone wants, the Lamborghini. And I was that guy too. Yes, yes, I wanted a Lamborghini at some point. Okay. Today I'm not sure a Lamborghini would be very meaningful for me, quite frankly. Um, but if that's what you want, fantastic. But examine why exactly do you want something? Okay, and that's ask those questions, and the answers will come because you want something that will actually truly be good for you.
Very true.
Truly,
Yep.
truly be good for you.
I totally agree. So, Philip, I mean, it's really, really a great conversation. And I know time is constrained, but still, I'd love to say that, dear listeners, Philip, I mean, what he shared, it is really, really powerful, and his story is just inspirational. So, I'd say, everyone who are tuning in, please remember that the life you want isn't created through the pressure. So, it's just created through the clarity, courage, and the conscious actions. So, Philip, if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the great medium to connect?
The best thing to do is to go to podcastfreebie.com. Just podcastfreebie.com. Simple as that. And that is just register for the mini course. It's free. Or just put in your name and email. And it's a free mini course in which I teach the exact method that I just described to you.
Okay, perfect. Great. So, dear listeners, what I'll do is I'll put all the details and the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And with this hope, until next time, this is your host, Avik, and this is Mind Over Masculinity. Keep evolving, and see you in the next episode. So, thank you so much.